There are stories in Hollywood that make us proud, and then there are those that break our hearts. Bruce Willis, the man who once ran through fire, bullets, and explosions with a smirk, now faces a battle no stunt could ever prepare him for. Once the loudest voice in every room, he now speaks through silence. His family stands beside him, carrying a pain that no fame or fortune can erase. What they revealed recently has left even his most devoted fans in tears. The beginning of a legend. Bruce Willis was never meant to have it easy. Born on March 19, 1955, in Idar Oberstein, West Germany, his life began in a small military town scarred by the memory of war. His father, an American soldier, and his German mother tried to build a life from nothing. When Bruce was just 2, the family crossed the Atlantic, settling in New Jersey, far from the strict order of Europe. The neighborhood was tough, full of factory workers, broken sidewalks, and kids who learned to fight before they could spell. But Bruce's biggest fight wasn't on the streets. Around the age of 6, he developed a severe stutter. Words stuck in his throat like glass. Other kids called him Buck, laughing when he tried to speak. He learned to swing his fists before he learned to defend himself with words. For years, silence was his enemy. Then something miraculous happened. At 15, Bruce joined his school's drama club, thinking it would be a way to hide behind someone else's words. But the moment he stepped on stage, his stutter disappeared. Acting gave him a voice, literally. For the first time, he could speak freely. That discovery changed his life forever. By 1973, Bruce was not just surviving, he was leading, elected student council president, still wearing the scars of childhood ridicule, but now armed with confidence. He studied theater at Montclair State University, where professors helped refine his speech and self-belief. But by 1977, restless and hungry for something real, he dropped out and moved to New York City, armed with nothing but dreams and grit. The rise to stardom and the price of fame. By the mid-1980s, Bruce Willis had paid his dues. After years of rejection, he finally got his chance, a small audition for a quirky new TV show called Moonlighting. More than 3,000 actors wanted the role. Bruce wasn't supposed to get it. He wasn't handsome in the Hollywood way. He wasn't a trained star. But when he walked into that audition with his sleeves rolled up and a half grin that said, "I dare you to underestimate me," everything changed. He ad-libbed his lines, turned the script into a playground, and made the producers laugh harder than they had in months. On March 3, 1985, Moonlighting premiered, and Bruce Willis became a household name overnight. His chemistry with co-star Sybil Shepherd was electric, the kind that made viewers tune in even when the show's scripts ran over 100 pages long. But behind the charm and wit, pressure was mounting. The two stars clashed constantly, and the long shoots pushed everyone to exhaustion. By 1988, Bruce's body gave out. He collapsed from stress and fatigue and was briefly hospitalized. When Moonlighting ended in 1989, the show had made him rich, $50,000 an episode, but it had also drained him completely. Fame had arrived, but peace was nowhere in sight. And then came the script that would change everything, Die Hard. At first, nobody wanted him for it. The studio offered the role to Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and even Frank Sinatra was considered because of a contractual sequel clause from decades earlier. All of them said no. Then someone mentioned Bruce Willis, the TV comedian, the untested wild card. The studio took a risk and offered him $5 million, an unheard-of sum for an actor without box office history. When Die Hard hit theaters on July 15, 1988, everything exploded. The film made over $140 million worldwide. Audiences fell in love with John McClane, not a superhero, but a regular man fighting impossible odds. Bruce's smirk, his sweat, his exhaustion, it felt real. But the cost was real too. During one of the many intense explosions on set, a blast went off too close, leaving Bruce partially deaf in his left ear. He kept it quiet then, but that injury would follow him for life. By the early 1990s, Bruce Willis wasn't just a TV star, he was an icon. Die Hard 2 came in 1990, and his paycheck soared to $7.5 million plus a share of the profits. His voice echoed in theaters, his face filled posters around the world. But fame has a cruel balance. For every dollar earned, a piece of peace was lost. The pressures of celebrity, the endless filming schedules, the constant comparisons, it all began to eat away at him. Love, family, and the cracks beneath the surface. At the height of his fame, Bruce Willis found what looked like love straight out of a Hollywood script. In July 1987, he met Demi Moore at a film premiere. She was already a star, confident and sharp, engaged to another man at the time, but Bruce was instantly drawn to her. Just 4 months later, on November 21st, 1987, they were married in Las Vegas. No planning, no warning, just two impulsive hearts chasing a moment that felt bigger than life. Their marriage quickly became one of Hollywood's brightest stories. They had 3 daughters, Rumor, born in 1988, Scout, 1991, and Tallulah, 1994. For a while, they seemed untouchable, a glamorous couple balancing red carpets and diapers, fame and family. Bruce was the proud husband, Demi the powerhouse wife, and the tabloids couldn't get enough. But behind those glossy covers, life was more fragile than it seemed. The cracks started to show as their careers exploded. Bruce was on set for months at a time. Fame turned from a dream into a dividing wall. They tried to take turns working so one of them could stay home. But Hollywood doesn't wait for family. Rumors of affairs, tension over finances, and constant media intrusion made their marriage a battlefield. By 1998, after 11 years, they separated quietly. Their divorce was finalized in October 2000, and though both insisted it was amicable, insiders knew it was painful. Bruce reportedly paid around $90 million in one of the most expensive settlements of its time. Still, they managed something rare, grace after heartbreak. They stayed friends, co-parented their daughters, and appeared together at family events even years later. Yet time, as it often does, brought healing. In 2009, Bruce remarried, this time to Emma Hemming, a model 24 years his junior. Their connection was quiet and genuine, far from the Hollywood spotlight. Together they had 2 daughters, Mabel, born 2012, and Evelyn, born 2014. For a moment, life seemed peaceful again. He called it his second chance. But beneath the surface, something was already beginning to change. Something none of them could see, something that would one day tear their world apart. The hidden decline and the family's realization. The 2010s should have been a time of calm for Bruce Willis. He had already conquered Hollywood, built a beautiful family, and earned the right to slow down. But instead of rest, he kept working, film after film, year after year. Some were small, independent projects, others low-budget action movies that fans barely noticed. To outsiders, it looked like he was just staying busy. To those on set, something seemed off. Directors began to notice him struggling with lines, not forgetting them but fighting to form the words. Crew members whispered that Bruce seemed confused, distant, sometimes detached in the middle of a scene. At first, people blamed exhaustion. Then they blamed age. But quietly, his wife Emma began to suspect something far more serious. In 2020, during the COVID lockdowns, Bruce made headlines for something surprisingly tender. He quarantined with his ex-wife Demi Moore and their 3 adult daughters at Demi's home in Idaho. The photos of them laughing together, matching pajamas, playing games, went viral. To fans, it looked like a sweet, unconventional family reunion. But behind those smiles, there were already signs that something was wrong. He would sometimes repeat himself, forget small things, drift away mid-conversation. By 2021, the symptoms had become impossible to ignore. On film sets, Bruce needed earpieces to feed him lines. Directors had to shoot around his confusion, sometimes using body doubles or editing tricks to cover the moments when he seemed lost. Emma later revealed that she thought he was just becoming distant, maybe tired, maybe distracted, but deep down she feared it was something else. Then, in March 2022, the truth came out. The family released a heartbreaking statement. Bruce Willis had been diagnosed with aphasia, a brain condition that affects speech and comprehension. He would be stepping away from acting permanently. He was 67 years old. Fans across the world were devastated. The man who had once filled the screen with quick wit and unshakable strength could no longer express himself with words. But the worst was still to come. Less than a year later, in February 2023, doctors confirmed what everyone feared. Bruce's condition had progressed to frontotemporal dementia, FTD, a cruel, degenerative disease that slowly steals a person's ability to communicate, to move, to recognize the world around them. Emma said she didn't fully understand at first. She thought Bruce was just pulling away emotionally, but it wasn't him. It was the disease, taking little pieces of him day by day. The hardest decision, moving Bruce to a care home and Emma's strength. By August 2025, the fight had reached its hardest chapter. Bruce's condition had worsened, the once commanding voice of Die Hard now replaced by quiet gestures and distant looks. For years, Emma Hemming Willis had done everything possible to keep him home, surrounded by family, laughter, and love. But frontotemporal dementia doesn't just change the patient, it reshapes the entire family. In the summer of 2025, Emma made a decision she had prayed she'd never have to make. On August 15th, Bruce Willis officially moved into a specialized care home just a short distance from their family house. The facility, costing around $200,000 per year, was designed to give him the stability and calm that his condition required. A peaceful environment far from noise, chaos, and confusion. Emma later called it the hardest decision of my life. During an emotional interview with People, she explained that their daughters, Mabel, 13, and Evelyn, 11, needed a home where they could live like children again. They can have play dates and sleepovers, she said softly, and not have to walk around tiptoeing. It wasn't about letting go. It was about protecting everyone, including Bruce. Some criticized her online, accusing her of sending him away. The backlash was cruel, but Emma responded with grace, posting a video saying that every family living with dementia faces choices outsiders can't understand. Even if someone is familiar with dementia, she said, they don't know how your person is behaving or your family dynamics. We do what's right for us. The care home was close enough that she could visit every morning and every night. She called it their second home. The routine brought her peace. She could hold his hand, talk to him softly, and still return to their daughters to keep their world stable. I get to go back to being Bruce's wife, she told People. The kids can be kids again. And there's beauty in that Emma said that despite the heartbreak, the arrangement opened up Bruce's world. With round-the-clock professional care, his days became more structured, more serene. He was surrounded by music, familiar scents, and caregivers trained to understand the rhythm of his new reality. Sometimes when she visited, she'd see a flicker in his eyes, a trace of recognition, a small smile. Those fleeting moments, she said, made it all worth it. Even Demi Moore, Bruce's ex-wife, publicly praised Emma's courage. On the Oprah podcast, Demi said, "There's no roadmap for this. So much fell on Emma to figure out, and the most beautiful thing is how she never forgot to care for herself. Because if you don't, you can't care for anyone else. The family's pain and the light that remains." While Bruce adjusts to life in his care home, the rest of the Willis family has learned to navigate their own grief, the slow daily loss of a man who is still here, but slipping away piece by piece. Yet amid the heartbreak, something extraordinary has emerged. Unity. The blended Willis-Moore family has stood as one. Demi Moore remains close, visiting often, helping the children understand their father's condition. The three daughters from Bruce's first marriage, Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah, have become pillars of support for their younger half-sisters, Mabel and Evelyn. Together, they've created a rhythm of love around Bruce, visiting him, playing his old songs, and bringing back fragments of the man they knew. The laugh, the smirk, the spark that refuses to die. But even in that strength, more pain surfaced. In early 2024, Bruce's daughter Tallulah Willis, now 30, shared something deeply personal with the world. In an emotional Instagram post, she revealed that she had been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, ASD, a lifelong neurological condition that affects communication and behavior. She posted a touching video of herself as a child, resting on her father's hip during a red carpet interview, gently stroking his head as he spoke. "Tell me you're autistic without telling me you're autistic," she wrote. When a fan asked if she had known since childhood, she replied, "Actually, this is the first time I've ever publicly shared my diagnosis. Found out this summer and it's changed my life." For millions of fans, it was a heartbreaking but beautiful echo, another member of the Willis family learning to live with a neurological disorder, just like her father. Tallulah has long been open about her battles with anorexia nervosa, depression, and ADHD, which she described in a powerful 2023 Vogue essay. "Restricting food," she wrote, "felt like the last vice I got to hold on to." Her honesty gave fans a glimpse into how deeply the family's struggles with health and identity run. Proof that even in the glow of fame, pain finds its way in. Through it all, Emma has been the steady anchor, balancing caregiving with motherhood, grief with gratitude. She says Bruce still recognizes familiar faces, sometimes laughs when hearing old songs, and shows flickers of emotion when his daughters visit. "Those moments," she says, "are gifts." In a quiet moment during an interview, Emma once said, "It breaks my heart, but I also feel lucky. Lucky that I got to love this man, and that he's still here for us to love in whatever way we can." And that's the truth of it. Bruce Willis, the hero who once saved the world on screen, is now being saved by the people who love him most. One day, one memory, one heartbeat at a time. Even when words fade, love doesn't. Bruce Willis's story isn't just about loss. It's about strength, family, and the quiet kind of heroism that never makes the headlines. What do you think is Bruce Willis's greatest legacy? His movies, or the way he lived his life? Tell us your thoughts below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more true Hollywood stories.